All right, Coach Matt here at Team Quest. I'm working with Mac. He's helping me. Our morning Jiu-Jitsu class, I've been going through takedowns for Jiu-Jitsu. And we're just really working on fundamentals about not a ton of technique, guys, but we're working on our body position, keeping our body in the right position, getting ourselves closer to the target. The target is his hips. We want to get to these hips. If I can control the man's hips or his head, usually I can control the body, generally speaking. So we're going to start with the same thing we started on last time. We went over dock strikes. We went into these wrists. We're attacking wrists. We're getting our body and we're creating pressure. So right here, notice the way I'm gripping this. The only way for Mac to clear is he's going to take that line of defense out of the way. That's going to put me into my underhook. If I grab it like this and he clears it, A, he's got my underhook blocked off. B, he's got his lines of defense back in front of his body. So I'm a little trick. I mean, there's little things that I do that I don't even put into detail, but I'm showing him which way to go by the way I'm grabbing that hand. Okay, I'm not just grabbing it for no reason. I'm actually showing him there's a way out, Mac. That puts me into my underhook. As I get in here, I want my head right in the center of his body. I don't want it out here floating because I don't have any pressure. I want to be controlling the hips and creating a scenario where I've got push and pull. We call this counter pressure. So as I attack this body and he takes that underhook, turn around so you can see what I'm doing. See that elbow? See what that elbow just did by pointing it to the ground. Here, he can move those hips away from me. He can square up and take my angle away in head position, and I have nothing. I can't get to those hips because he got all his lines of defense back in my way. Hands, head, chest, all those lines of defense. So I'm gonna put that head right in here, and as he tries to pull those hips away, I'm gonna point that elbow toward the mat. This hand hasn't connected yet, but it's getting ready to. What I always talk about is capture rather than lock. And we'll see it all the time. Guys will come in here and they'll lock, and these arms will just start to come away from their body rather than capture, lock, late. So a little detail that kind of matters, capture, lock, late, is the detail. From here, the first attack I usually go to is what we call find the knee here. We're driving with our head pressure, putting the weight on the heels. We're running. The footwork's gonna be hardest part for you guys to understand. I'm gonna show it without a partner real quick. As I'm running and I feel like I'm gonna fall, I replace this knee with this one. So as I'm running, if I don't move my feet, I'm gonna fall. So I put that one back in place. Watch the footwork now when I do it with my partner. Elbow down, capture, run into a nice hitting position. We call this a takedown. In Jiu-Jitsu, anytime you're past the guy's guard or you're outside of that guard and you're controlling, it could be a mount, it could be side control, back pressure, we're calling those takedowns. Now, if Mac tried to get that leg away from me, right here, I don't have that knee anymore. Simple attack is put the other ear on his chest, on the other side of his body, and repeat. Find the knee. So as we get in there, find the knee is like our first attack. When we get into these hips, I always say, put my ear right in the sternum. I don't want it out here. I want it right in the center. It's giving me that pressure. So one more time, we're gonna go find the knee on the first side. Here's the knee. Sit. Pressure, get your weight off your partner. When he takes those hips away, he's gonna obviously bring this hip closer to me so I don't have to travel as far, but I do have to move my own feet. Here, watch that hip's going away. The other one came closer, found the knee, drove this man to the mat. If I get those hips back a little ways and still head position, remember how I said I wanted my head in here? Mac wants his head in there too. As he does that, we're gonna do what we call a throw by. There's a couple ways I teach this one, but as Mac starts to get those hips away, first thing I do is I show him I want those hips. And that's making his energy come forward. He's like, no, I want them. So as soon as they go away, pull, throw by, I'm behind, drive this man to the mat, probably gonna end up in a turtle position again. I can also do this throw by by just making a bigger loop. Lassoing it. Captured. Now I've locked. As soon as those hips go away, I'll still do that little pressure. Notice that pressure. I've got into these hips and they go away. I pull, but I know I'm losing them. I'll shrug that by. I'm gonna go a little harder so I'll shrug it off. But this whizzer will not stay in there. Turn around this angle. So you take those hips away, I'll shrug that whizzer off. Let me do it again. I want you to let me shrug it off, or I'm gonna go really hard. Okay, I'm in here, and as I get in there, those hips go away, and he starts to face me. There's my angle. Okay, so I want him to understand he's stole my angle. If I still have my head in here, I can regain my angle. But as soon as he gets that angle in here, I lose it. That's when I keep this lock and I shrug that off of me. So one more time, we're gonna go in, connect. He gets those hips in hip position. He got his hips so far back, I had to let go of my lock. So if you can keep your hands locked, typically I do. I got pretty long arms, so it works really well. But the pressure of driving him forward and backwards. Now, if the guy did the same thing, but he got his hips back so far that I can feel he's unbalanced, I'm gonna change it from attacking his hips to attacking his head. Simple way to think, hips, head. So on hips, he gets those hips away, I move and I go head. Notice what I did. This is a mistake a lot of guys make, is they go here, and as soon as those hips go away, they wanna reach for this head. I'm still keeping my frame in between us. As those hips go away, I put a frame between us, and that frame slides up here, and I start pulling him off balance. Moving my own feet. That is gonna be the hardest part, is we don't move our feet from here. So I go hips go back, snap them down. Look, we're still back in this turtle position. So we're gonna cover our whole system there at turtle. It's front chokes, back takes, or put a guy into side control. And that's a great system that we've kind of developed here and what we work with. But real fun teaching you guys. Thanks.